Headquarters, Dr. K. Sunita Reddy, consultant, forensic psychologist, and Dr. Engineer B. Brahma Reddy, FIE, council member, Engineer K. Subbireddy, FIE, a committee member and convener of today's webinar, Engineer T. Anjaya, FIE, Honored Secretary, Institution of Engineers, Telangana State Center, and council members, committee members, past chairman, fellow fraternity, distinguished guests, media friends, ladies and gentlemen. Greetings to all of you on behalf of the Institution of Engineers Telangana State Center. On behalf of Institution of Engineers Telangana State Center and on my own behalf, I deem it a great privilege to extend a hearty welcome to Professor K.S. Kamal Garu, Chairman ETBT IEI, and Professor Dr. KVL Reddy Garu, and also Dr. K. Sunita Reddy, and to all of you for this important webinar. It is also honor bestowed. Really, Kamal sir is any time when you call, definitely Kamal sir will kindly for accepting and conveying his consent to grace this function. So we are living in changing times. The world is changing very fast and adopting the digital technologies that help for re-engineering, automate and infuse the intelligence across the any sector. The digital transformation has taken the world by storm. It is changing the way of life and also way of we do things. That is emerging of the artificial intelligence and machine learning, internet of thinking, data analytics, and social media, etc., having a big fill up in the digital world. When the world is changing so fast, we cannot remain by standards. We can also simply stand and stare. We have to keep pace. We have to make the things happening. So we have to embrace good computing, data science, and e-commerce and social media. We have to promote the newer technologies like telemedicine, especially robotic and 3D printing. We should accept the autonomous cars. We have to adopt the real-time technologies and their online applications. We have to understand and appropriate interface and digital world is a fast expanding. We cannot lag behind and miss this chance. So I don't want to go to very details because it's very good speakers today we are having. They will explain about how the accelerating the digital transformation in the changing times with these few words. Just I want to say a few words about our Reddy Professor Dr. K.V.N. Reddy about our institution because he's the past president of IET headquarters. Sir, I'm very happy to inform that institution of it is completed 100 years, centenary year, September 2020. We have celebrated this significant milestone with varied events in befitting manner for the glorious contribution to the national development. As a part of centenary celebration, the Telangana State Center and also all other centers have organized a series of international conferences, national conventions, all India seminars, workshops, and roundtable conferences, etc., in almost all engineering disciplines with the aim to disseminate the latest technology in engineering and technology to the engineering committee. It is proud privilege the Institution of Engineering Telangana State Center that the Engineering Congress is organized for the first time of the formation of Telangana State Center IEA. And also, the Telangana State Center of IEA has been awarded the Best State Center Award, the Best All-Round Performance for the year 2019-20. This is a great achievement and honor bestowed the Telangana State Center out of the 32 state centers throughout the country. And totally 2 years continuously because 2019 2020 and 2022, 2 years, the state center got the best state center award. Keeping this spirit only, Telangana State Center is positive of developing an excellent center with all-round activities conducted in each and every sphere of the women activity for spreading the technical knowledge and innovative technology for the benefit of the engineering community at large and society, engineering community and also society at large. So that's why we are also doing this webinar. That is a very important webinar, is accelerating digital transformation in the challenging times. I once again extend a hearty welcome to all of you on behalf of the Telangana State Center of the Institution of Engineers India, and also on my own behalf of to all of you. Thank you, one and all. Now, I'm requesting Engineer K. Subbireddy, FIE, and committee member, Institution of Engineers, Telangana State Central Committee, and also convener of this event. Please brief about the webinar, today's webinar, to all the participants. Over to Engineer K. Subbireddy.
Thank you, sir. Good evening to all. The presiding Chairman Dr. Rameswara Garu, Chief Guest Professor Engineer Narendra Singh Ji, the eminent speakers Professor Dr. T.S. Kamal, Professor Dr. K.T. Reddy, Engineer V. Biruma Reddy, and Dr. Sunita Reddy, Honorary Secretary Sri Anjay Garu, and all the participants of the webinar, including State Committee members, Governing Council members, past presidents, past chairmen, and all the guests who are attending the webinar. Good evening to all of you once again. Dr. Rameswara Garu has covered the digitalization in that. However, I will cover some of the leftover details in brief before moving to the next proceedings. The theme, Accelerating Digital Transformation in Challenging Times, the same subject we have organized a webinar during the World Telecom Information Society Day celebrations last month on 17th May. However, after seeing the overwhelming response from the various circles and also the necessity of the subject during this pandemic times, we thought of repeating with different speakers. The main aim of the webinar is to pursue a single horizontal service platform for exchanging and sharing data among digital transformation efforts in various business applications. In this context, it's the need of the hour to propose a meeting of ENT engineers, that is electronics and telecommunication engineers, managers, CEOs, and CTOs, etc., on accelerating digital transformation in these pandemic times. It is to help in raising awareness in generating possibilities of using the internet and other information and communication technologies, that is ICTs, bringing them to societies and economies and create a way to bridge the divide, the digital divide. What is digital transformation? What does it mean to the industry, government, and citizens? The COVID-19 crisis has highlighted the critical role of ICTs for continued functioning of societies. ITU, that is the International Telegraph Union, have stepped up and engaged in activities that have proven essential in saving lives and keeping economies going. They have demonstrated their remarkable resilience in the face of challenging times. Digital transformation is to deliver in an efficient, accountable, transparent, and auditable way to the benefit of all. It not only implies applying and or updating the technology we use, but creating a culture that embraces new technologies that improve the efficiency and effectiveness of the people in their daily life of business. While COVID-19 is perceived as the biggest international challenge the world has faced since the Second World War, Challenging times may also include climate change and the destruction of rural environment, economic crisis, extreme weather events, and natural disasters. The current COVID pandemic is testing the telecom by ICT industry in many ways, some of which are only just becoming apparent. Increased traffic demand has led the industry to adopt measures to keep services available to people at the time when they need them most. Operators have increased data allowances and broadband speeds and added capacity to their networks, while streaming platforms have increased their video quality to leave more broadband for essential services. In the today's webinar, we have invited four eminent speakers. They are experts in their own fields. The two speakers are noted academicians. They are Professor Dr. Kamal, IEA Council member. He will speak on the main subject, that is accelerating digital transformation in these challenging times. Professor Dr. KTV Reddy, immediate past president of IETE, he will speak on broadband communications. The third speaker is Dr. Sunita Reddy. He is a senior consultant psychiatrist. She will speak on digitalization in COVID era. The other speaker is our Brahma Reddy Garu, our council member, IEA. He will speak on digital transformation in banking, COVID era to future and beyond. I request all the four speakers may finish their talk in 25 minutes, please. So with this, I hand over the mic to the Rameswara for the further proceedings. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Now, I am requesting Engineer B. Brahmareddy FI, is a council member, Institution of Engineers India. Now, please start your talk, sir. Over to
Let me
Brahmareddy,
introduce,
sir.
sir.
Introduce, sir, please. Can you introduce, sir?
Yes, yes, please.
Now, I am requesting our Subbireddy, sir, please introduce today's Engineer B. Brahmareddy, today's speaker.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sri B. Brahmareddy, born in 1955 and graduated in 1984 from the Institute of Engineers India in Electronics and Telecommunication Engineering. He is All India topper in AMIE in subject engineering, mathematics, and applied mechanics, strength of materials. He holds professional qualifications CEIIP in 1995, All India topper in banking technology and banking law and practice from HBF, Mumbai, and obtained MBA Banking and Finance in 2002 from ITNOU Delhi. He joined Indian Air Force in 1975 after diploma in radio communication engineering, AP Port of Technical Education, Hyderabad, and served from 1975 to 1990 as a radar engineer. While in IAF, he is part of the team of engineers to Radar Innovation Center of Electronics SPA, Rome, Italy in 1986. He worked as MRI field engineer in Toshiba, America Medical Corporation, San Francisco, USA for 3 years from January 90 to December 1992. He served as member technical support in Digital India in New Delhi from 92-94. He served in banking from 94 to 2015 in various positions in the erstwhile Andhra Pradesh to improve the customer delight through product design. He served the Institute of Engineers India at Kolkata as Secretary General and Director General in the year 2015 to 2016. Presently, he is elected member of IEA Council, served as chairman of various committees. He is also member of Governing Council of Indian Institute of Technical Arbitrator, Chennai. He is a member on the Board of Management, ESCI, and advisor to Maha Electronics Limited, Hyderabad. He contributed services to APSC Hyderabad as a joint honorary secretary in 2012 to 2014 and as honorary secretary 14 to 15. Professional achievements. He was granted Vikas Ratna Award in 1989 by Industry Economic Forum, Delhi, for innovative design of XZ KU band radar systems IAF fitted in Canberra aircraft. He is winner of the citation of monetary prizes from various institutes. Those are HP Strict Fellow Prize, SBI Platinum Jubilee Prize, Syndicate Bank Golden Jubilee Year Prize, Bank of Baroda Prize. So, he is our council member and also our good friend Ramanuji Garu. Please speak on, sir. I invite you to speak on here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Subred, sir. And thanks for giving me this opportunity. Dr. Rameshwar Rao Garu, Chairman, T. Anjay Garu, the speakers, Dr. Kamal Garu, Dr. KTV Reddy Garu, Dr. Sunita Garu, and all other my colleague committee members, the committee, and all those who are attending this. And also my good friend from Pune, Professor Girish Mundade, who is also present. Thank you, sir. So today's my sub theme out of the accelerating digital transformation in challenging times is digital transformation in bank COVID era to future and beyond. Sir, I would like. Hello, are you able to hear me, sir?
మహేష్ అన్మ్యూట్ చేయి కమల్ సార్ అది అక్కడ ఓకే
Kindly put slide 3. Okay, thank you. The slide 3, you can see the digital transform pyramid. What is the digital transformation? Before digital transformation, we should be a thorough, we should know about the digitalization, digital transform, because all the three are interconnected. In the pyramid, if you see the first from the down, it is the digitization. What is the digitization? So, for example, I'll give you an example. Suppose if some X scans his company's document and into a PDF format and saves to the C drive on his personal computer, then that is known as digitization. That means the digitization is nothing, the process of converting information from a physical or analog into the digital one. And the digitalization is the process of leveraging digital data or digitized data to improve the business process. That is the second, you can see the digitalization. I'll explain with a small example. If Mr. Ram scans his documents, company's documents into PDF format and saves them to CD drive, that is digitization, on his personal computer, and then uploads those files to the company's cloud platform so that his employees can see and access them anywhere and anytime. This is known as digitalization. There is a slight difference between digitalization and again digital transformation, but in industry some people use it as a digitalization word, but which is not correct. The main difference between digitization and digitalization can be clearly seen from the top two examples which I have given, and it is also that digitization is the initial step towards digitalization. So next slide you can go. Yeah, now the major difference between digitalization and digital transform. The digitization is the process of converting information from physical format to the digital one. Similarly, digitalization is leveraged to improve business. The same digitized data as being leveraged, which is shown in the example. Now I'll move it to digital transformation. The digital transformation is nothing, is the implementation of a series of technological and human changes to restructure the existing business models, thereby leading to new opportunities and values for business. For example, if in the previous two examples, I said Mr. Rao's company implements a transportation management system and his current cloud-based documents have now been integrated with this transport management system to facilitate the company's operation process. So Mr. Rao also provides a training of the solution to his employees while readjusting the operation process to fit into his utility. Then the Rao's company has now greatly reduced operating costs and working time. These resources that used to enter new markets are reinvent and developing other solutions to create new values for the business. So this example shows what they are digitized, that is being used for end use. That is the digital transformation by using. Now I'll tell you what is the slight difference between digitalization and digital transformation. It is similar words, almost same, but the difference is that there are two factors, human factor and sustainability value. The human factor is, it is for a digital transformation, the operations themselves and the entire workforce from the board to the staff, below staff, they must be reskilled to become more flexible, more technically proficient. And a bank or an organization may be digitalized, but if to convert into digital transformation, the human should be reskilled to use that modern technologies or whatever leverage technologies that have been added to do the digital transformation. So actually the digital transform, normally the 5 elements, human element, that is leadership, capability building, empowering workers, communication, and all the way tool technology improvements. That means whatever tools are used in that unit, it should be improved by the introduction of the new technologies. So the next point, sustainability of value. There are two factors, I said, human factor and sustainability value. And secondly, the digital transformation is an endeavor that needs to be thoroughly planned and takes a lot of time, that 3 to 5 years. In any organization, it takes. Unlike digitalization, digital transformation does not simply require businesses to apply a lot of advanced technologies into their operations, nor can be completed in a single project. Therefore, it can be inferred that a digital transformation roadmap will include many digitalization and also digitization in the project, because that means any digital transformation, as you saw in the first slide pyramid, that is the topmost is the digital transformation. These two are the stepping stone to the digital transformation process. So in addition, the sustainability of digital transformation is expressed in many other factors, such as the integration and solidification of technologies or a customer-driven growth mindset, to name a few. If the digitization and digitalization are deemed the first step, that means digitization is the first step, that is manual process, and digitalization is the second step, that is semi-automated process, and digital transformation is the third step, which is the automated process in the breakthrough of businesses in the 4.0 economy. Then, so what is industry 4.0 then? We can think of industry 4.0 as being used by the European for the combination of digital transformation and digitalization. Of course, it leads to a confusion all of its own. Next slide, please. Ratam garu, successful digital transformation examples. Hello. Yeah. Now, what are the successful digital transformation examples? I listed 6 companies: IKEA, Lego, Nike, Disney, Microsoft, and Audi cars. IKEA, is everybody is aware, is a company which is a Swedish company, furniture company, is one of the digital in transformation examples, which has that transformation can change a traditional organization. So thanks to the new technology, IKEA is changing its shopping experience of its customers for better and optimizing its cost in the process. Since 2017, it started the digital transformation 2010. The company has acquired TaskRabbit by a software. This is a website that lets you search for people to help with the assembly or delivering furniture. That means if you can visualize as if your room is furnished. If the same is purchased and how it looks, how the room can be decorated, and where it fits, how it fits. So that is the one this advantage, where the company also using augmented reality. The augmented reality in the IKEA place application to make it easier for customers to choose furniture and virtually furnish the apartment before making purchases in the store. So another example of digital transformation for IKEA is the Space 10 project, which is a research center and exhibition center. So it was there that the company presented the concept of autonomous cars as a residential and entertainment space. However, IKEA does not plan to produce cars alone, but it only creates concepts for their interior. So this is an example out of the 6 I have able to explain you. Because of my time of 20 minutes, I think given, so I won't be able to complete other things. Next slide, please. If you you go to next slide. Okay, innovation accelerators. If you see from the diagram what is on the presentation, there are 6 elements in this: next generation security, augmented and virtual reality, Internet of Things, 3D printing, robotics, and cognitive systems. The new generation of security is required. So, like putting up for cyber security, that means artificial intelligence empowered cyber security and other etc. and CCTVs. This is what the next generation security. That means if any 3D platform is to be put innovation for these are to be implemented. And augmented means actually it is giving an environment perception, visual perception of environment, as if digital information is superimposed over a natural existing environment. You can, I have seen 2 Telugu movies. One is Ega, where one fly, but housefly is the hero in that. And that housefly is being projected through the visual effects, and that is what augmented reality and also virtual reality. It also both are 3-dimensional. In the virtual reality, it is just like a simulation of an environment in a 3-dimensional image. Cognitive systems are nothing. They are a new solution, new ideas, or new software, or new hardware that mimics in some ways human intelligence capabilities. And 3D printing, I think I don't need to explain. So next slide, please. Indian public sector banks undergoing rapid digital transformation. There was a study by Boston Consulting Group and IBA, Indian Banks Association. They have found some points, that is the digital infrastructure and unified payment interface, MSME formulation driven by GST, emergence of new data sources and big data analytics, alternative data sources, and PSB take firm steps to do some smart banking, that is using mobile, driving digital lending and way forward. So in this the digital infrastructure, the government has rolled out a number of initiatives. Number of initiatives over the last 5 years that have helped in driving smart banking. And similarly, the UPI today, due to the COVID, and many have been subjected to using the United Payments interface. It was actually started in 2016. At that time, it was only around 47 crore transactions. But after the COVID-19 alone, in 2020, 50 crore transactions was done, and it is now touching 162 crore transactions because of the pandemic. MSME, because of the introduction of GST, the government has it became for the MSME, small and medium other companies. Sorry for the interruption. MSME, because of GST introduction, it became easy for the companies to file their taxes and other reporting easy, and emergence of new data sources and big data analytics. This also has given for rapid digital transformation in banking and because of the big data. Next slide, please. Elements of digital transformation. So the definer here is the define the what is the digital transformation goals, and integrated what is the strategy, and this will come in the later slides. And executive middle management approval. Executives and middle management, it has to approve if anything is to be digital transformation, because up to digitalization, okay. And but once the digital transformation comes, the skilled human skilled employees are required, and agile and flexible system and right skills. There are skills. Right skills means right from the staff to everybody should know how to use the. Next slide, please. Now, how COVID-19 has changed payments of banking behavior forever. Now, you can see how it is changed. There is a research done by one MuleSoft company. They found that more than 45% of residents say they have permanently changed how they interact with their bank since COVID-19. 31% of residents has used online or mobile banking in the future. Also, 45% of customers have used a mobile wallet payment platform in the during the last 3-4 months, when last year 2020 also, and now also the wallet like Paytm wallet and any other mobile, Airtel wallet, the use of these wallets have gone up because of the pandemic. There will be measurable shift from cash to checks also, and 40% said they will shop online more in the future than in the store. Next slide. We can see from the diagram figure that how digital only banking boomed during the pandemic, because of the lockdowns and the restriction entry to the banking branches, all that. So it is a The good news is that for all the banks and financial institutions, out of the COVID-19 period has been is a gain, unprecedented gain, because of many have used the net banking and mobile banking and other modes of all means without a visit to a branch. It was earlier the same customer was hesitant to use the any digital mode of things, but it has been used in the they were forced to use during the pandemic. So we can see from this diagram how it is the COVID service was recognized and now it is boosted and boomed to the to digital usage very remarkably. In 2019, digital only consumers represented 30%. But in 2020, it rose to by 11% to 41%. And in 2021, in the span of 3 months, it has gone up by 8% and it touched now 49%. That we can see from the diagram. Although the rate of increase is unlikely to be repeated over the course of 2021 till December, but some researchers expected that the same movement may continue, since the second wave is also at its peak in India, and the rate of increase is likely to go up. And as expected, and as the reports say, the third wave and other thing, it may touch more than 50% or beyond. The essential components, next slide, please. The essential components for any successful digital transformation, any organization, there are 7 essential trends. These trends have to be like data analytics and leadership, and it is the leadership which decides, and then enhance the customers survey experiences, understanding what is customer is requiring, and from his point of view the product has to be designed if it has to be totally digital transformation. And poster innovation. The innovation can be deployed internally with partners or purchased from the third parties. Whatever is internal innovation is known as the poster innovation. And leverage modern technologies. Digital technology is creating new business model opportunities, including digital enhancements. The upgrade systems and procedures. The existing new technology so that the applications and data structure and that supports that to support the business processes. And also the employees have to be made digital ready. That means reskill workforce. So that means they have to be given a proper training, and so that the experiences on the new technology and intently they can do a good customer service to retain the customers or to attract the new customers. Next slide. Yeah. Next slide, Ratnam. Next slide, please. Hello. Ratnam.
Ratnam, Mahesh?
Next slide. That is over. Next.
Raju.
Use of mobiles during pandemic. If you see the chart here, it is two classes. One is high digital engagement and low digital engagement. If we compare with this, used mobile banking in first 3 months, deposited checks are via via mobile, then transferred funds via mobile, paid bills via mobile, you can find here and what is the rating and chart in this. The used mobile banking in past 3 months is 96% higher side or high digital engagement, and only 60% in low digital engagement. And similarly, any transfer via funds, it is 73% is on a high digital engagement, and it 26% on low digital engagement. So similarly, the most recent advice received via mobile, that is 12% is the low digital engagement, and 24% is high digital engagement. So the reason for that can be seen, and other parameters also there. The final pairs of bars in the chart, if we see, 2 out of 5 mobile users among the highly engaged do not fully understand the service, but they were using it similar way, and just over half of the low engagement users do not comply completely get mobile either. But somehow, whether during the pandemic, they were all forced to use the mobile banking. Like me, I was earlier putting a checks in whenever I had to pay a Citibank payment. I used to go to the branch and put a check there in the box and come back. And I found when the last year lockdown started, it was difficult to go there. I learned how to do it, and then I've been doing digitally, paying from my account to the credit card bill. So that is how an example I am just giving. Yeah, please move to next slide. Digital channels filling critical COVID gap. How mobile usage differed by institution size during pandemic. Here, earlier we have compared high engagement users and low engagement users. Now we are seeing big bank, regional bank, and mid-sized bank. If you see the big banks, which are in brown color, their high digital engagement customers are 50% with the big banks, and regional bank 39%, and mid-sized banks 32%. And used mobile in the past 3 months, if you see, 71% is big banks, and regional banks is around 23%, and other mid-sized bank is 17%. Similarly, used assisted online service in the first 3 months, if you compare, big banks is 22%, others regional and others are 17% each. Most recent advice provided via online mobile or mobile is 69% is with the big banks, and 51% is with the regional banks, and 49% is mid-sized. So if you see from this, it has a no, whether big or small or regional or mid-sized, whatever it is, but the usage percentage has gone up comparative to the previous years. Next slide, please. The pandemic, how it exposes the paradoxes or flaws in the digital banking transformation. Many paradoxes exposed during the COVID-19 pandemic in the areas, especially organizational priorities and strategies, investments, and talent development. One simple example is whenever during the COVID time, if you draw money, uh, many banks in mobile message have not come. So everybody having a fear whether my money is debited or whether it where it has gone, whether it transferred or not from one account to another account, because the of the improper digital transformation or partial digital uh, transformation, the lot of challenges have happened in the banking industry. And also it was inconsistent commitment, because what is the failure is another failure, inconsistent commitment to digital banking, because banks are not totally ready for any this type of, it was a sudden situation, a COVID-19 pandemic. So they were unable to meet the requirements of the customer. The COVID-19 also increased the urgency around the digital banking transformation in all the financial services as well as financial institutions and banks. And as consumers and businesses have accelerated their shift to digital options, the importance of integrating digital and physical delivery capabilities have become an imperative for success and survival. And if we go back 2 years down the line and maybe 15, 16 and 17, there was a demonetization, withdrawing all the maximum, the highest notes like 1000 notes and all that. There was a scarcity of money, all that. And that also forced last 2 years also, there was a slight increase in the digital transaction, which government is also encouraging for the digital transactions. Next, please. Now, what are the priorities around the digital banking transformation worldwide? According to the digital banking report, August 2020, a research revealed an overall awareness and enthusiasm around the process of digital banking transmission. In this, the priority is 75% of organizations worldwide cite as a top 3 priority for 2020 and into 2021. This was followed by improving the customer experience, that is 1% as a top 3 priority. If you see here from the chart, that is the digital banking, first 75% is digital banking. Next is improving customers experiences by 51%, and risk management is reduced by 32%, and cost management also has come down to 47%, and so on. The cultural development. What is the cultural development? That naturally affecting the priority is only 8%. That means the first priority is converting banking into the transformation, digital transformation, so that it improves the customer service by 51%. So the priorities have changed from earlier traditional banking to the when it becomes a traditional bank. Next slide, please. Knowing what is important is not enough. If we observe what is important, that is to achieve the digital banking transformation, there are some contradictions. Especially, they observed some additional contradiction around the digital banking transformation strategy. That is especially the strategy applied by the banks as well as the investment part, because of the last 2 years, you can say, because of the COVID pandemic, the entire business has collapsed, whether smaller, bigger, small, and they are unable to repay their loans. And also, RBI has given moratorium, and because of that, the cost has gone up, and they are not affordable to do digital, buy the equipment or whatever it is to continue their digital transformation. And talent also, they could not recruit new talent. So to achieve such successful digital banking transaction, an universal agreement of top strategies irrespective of the banks. We have seen earlier, irrespective of the bank, whether big bank or regional bank or mid-sized bank, there is a increase of digital channels by the customers. So hence, now by knowing, even if it is improved customer service, but the companies have to, or banks have to improve use of data analytics and artificial intelligence for their advantage. Next slide.
Brahmareddy garu,
Last time, coming to conclusion,
already 40 minutes.
I am checking your time is running out. Yeah, I think I will jump to conclusion. Yeah, next slide, please. You can go to. There are challenges that are still barrier to. Please go down. Slide number 7. You have to come down because that is actually done different way. Slide number 7, starting. Here is the challenge. Any challenge that is still a barrier for the growth of the digital banking in India? Yes, the security, lack of customer awareness and understanding, and fear of use of the channel. That is, security means the customer is afraid by using digital banking whether my funds are secured or is feel insecure because of hacking, all these things. Similarly, lack of customer awareness understanding, because people are not they still 80% of our population not aware of the how to use this technology. So that is also because they are afraid of cyber criminals and other things. Similarly, fear of using, like old generation, they are fear of using the technology, and also training. That because of lack of proper training and knowledge to the recruited employees is also creating a problem for that. Next. Conclusion, please come to number 30, slide number 30. Though it is true that digital banking has brought in amazing customer experience with a significant improvement in the delivery of banking services, but however, the Indian banking sector will has to come over many challenges to make digital banking a pervasive, because now we said that fear and security, all those factors which are the challenges, the government and other stakeholders have an important role to play here, and they should decide the pace and direction of the digital journey of our nation. The government is also recently said digital India, so that means they want everything to be all be transparent and digital and cashless, cash-free economy. So now the traditional bank is no more enough, and similar way, the digital bank is no more an option. So choosing the right technology and opting for digital strategy is the order of the day needs for today. And every digital transformation is a part of an effort to resolve a challenge, and going through these use cases of South Indian Bank and DBS Singapore and Sony Bank Japan will give you an idea how these banks and this have done. But DBS is one of the best bank, and no branch at all. Actually, I have a case study of it, but because lack of time, I think some other time. And the DBS Bank has been in the phase 1. They have done digital transformation 2009 to 2014, and phase 2 of the digital transformation there in 2014 started, and in the COVID period it has really went up, especially in India, because the only digitalized bank in India without any branch, that is the DBS headquartered at Singapore. It has improved by experimenting with mobile only banking in India, and challenges in building the ecosystem platform. And also it created a 26,000 person startup company, making people its a key differentiator. And also, and is the only bank which has created value for the digital transformation, and has become very, very profitable. Uh, and venturing into this uncharted territory. And one of the company by name, you all know that Alibaba, which is the one also is a digital transform company, which was challenging this bank. But how this bank has come out of all that by having a very good innovative council within their organization, and they have come with flying colors in the market. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And I look forward to listen the other speakers who are excellent speakers are there. Thank you once again, and I thank and the Telangana State Center and Dr. Rameshwar Rao and Dr. Anjay Garu for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Sir Rameswara.
Sir, any questions or anything or you want to
Oh, already you have.
exceeded time?
Yes, yes. Thank you, Brahma Reddy garu.
Well,
Excellent presentation you have
thank you,
given.
sir. Thank you.
Really fantastic actually. It is a different lecture actually from the last time this World Telecom Day. Now I invite Dr. Sunita Reddy Kumuri. Dr. Sunita Reddy Kuburi is a consultant forensic psychiatrist. She graduated from Gandhi Medical College, Hyderabad. She completed her diploma in general psychiatry from Keele University, UK, and attained her Royal College of Psychiatrists membership in 2006. She became a consultant in 2008 and is currently working with Cheshire and Viral Partnership NHS Trust. She is also specialist medical member sitting on mental health review tribunals. Actually, she is involved very with tribunal meetings in the morning. Actually, it is the lunchtime, I suppose. She has joined very late. Actually, she has joined only just a few minutes back. She carries out second opinion reviews in Wales. She has a special interest in neuropsychiatric conditions and completed her postgraduate in from Birmingham, UK. Dr. Koburi also conducts mental health assessments of refugees and regularly produces medical legal reports for the immigration chamber. Being an NHS community consultant, COVID had directly impacted on their workload and working practices. Now I invite Dr. Reddy to go into her speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I take this opportunity to thanks everybody for share the platform with such eminent speakers. And I have to mention Mr. Brahma Reddy Garu's speech is brilliant, really. It actually touched many points that I wanted to mention today. So he laid the platform for me and it would be a quite straightforward, easy one for me now. I can't see my presentation, sir. I can't see my presentation. Is it being shown or?
Ratnam?
Thank you. Already it is there. Please go ahead.
No, but I can't see this screen. So, okay, I'll log on to my screen then. Digitalization healthcare. I think Mr. Brahma Reddy Garu explained very well, saying what is the difference between digitalization, and digital transformation. In healthcare setup, definitely this is not something new. It's been there for good more than 10 years or so. The way we say, I think one of the things they said was Grisha Greenlove, who is co-director of interdisciplinary research in health sciences. She said that it's incredible how COVID-19 has done what we couldn't do until now. The risk-benefit ratio for virtual healthcare has massively shifted and all the red tape has suddenly been cut out. The way we practice medicine has changed forever, and I don't think we're ever going to go back to how we did medicine in the past. I work in community psychiatry, and I'm classed as working in secondary mental health services. The way it works is, is it okay for me to continue?
You already given, madam.
Okay. The way it's divided is primary mental health services, secondary mental health services, and tertiary mental health services. This is usually a very broad division of medical services. Primary medical services would be our general physicians in the community. Secondary mental health services would be specialist mental health services in the community where there's a consultant psychiatrist, there are community psychiatric nurses, and also social workers and other
Already he
professionals.
given the share screen. Please share your screen. Doesn't see.
I thought can you see my screen or you can't?
On way.
May I continue or you want me to stop?
Madam, please continue.
Sorry. Right. The way medical services are divided in most of the developed countries and where medical services are good is divided into primary, secondary, and tertiary services. Primary services are comprised by your general practitioners in the community, which we call as family doctors. And secondary services would be where the specialist hubs of medical services that are provided in the community. And in my case, being a psychiatrist, we would be having consultant psychiatrists, you have associate specialists, and some community psychiatric nurses and occupational therapists and other professionals like clinical psychologists or therapists, psychotherapists attached to it. And tertiary medical services would be inpatient hospital setup. What COVID 19 has done, which we were not able to do in the past, was bridging between the primary and the tertiary mental health services, which I'll come to at a later point. Is this new? As I said, digitalization is nothing new. It's been evolving for many years from telemedicine and remote patient engagement to new digital approaches for diagnostics and information exchange. The outbreak of COVID 19 in early 2020 vastly accelerated this widespread adoption of virtual healthcare. Being a psychiatrist, most of the times your patients want to have that face to face consultation and meet with you. However, because of COVID 19, we were not able to meet them. So we started doing initially as a telephone consultations, which was a shock to them. But at the same time, we had to take safety and risk into account, and we had to do that. The second thing is we started doing FaceTime, which we use normally by telephone. If the patient didn't have the smartphone, that's when we started using telephone. This is very basic way of we started using the consultations to start off with. What is virtual healthcare? There are no officially agreed definitions. The terms virtual, tele, digital, and e-healthcare all tend to have a wide scope that includes technologies for remote patient communication, education, diagnosis, and monitoring. It includes digital technologies and software for healthcare professional to healthcare professional for information exchange and administrative and operational functions. And it's continuously evolving. At least our practice is continuously evolving how to encompass new approaches and digital developments. While the terms telemedicine and remote healthcare often refer only to the remote medical consultation treatment of patients, taken that the facilities are not uniformly present all over the country or some patients don't have the technology to use, we are still using telephone appointments. That's the reason telemedicine applies to almost everybody rather than only where we are able to use the most advanced stages. Few facts before we go into the details of how it impacted. Unsurprisingly, in light of COVID 19, the global digital health market is expected to witness a 37.1% spike in growth in 2021. We are almost halfway into 2021. I cannot see as a consultant psychiatrist that we are going to ever go back to normal way of practicing medicine. I still do my clinics over the telephone. I still use Microsoft Team meetings. I do most of our meetings. Like Mr. Subiredi Garu was saying, I was in a tribunal today morning, and I'm the consultant who was on behalf of the patient attending, and the panel was sitting from all over the country. The judge was sitting from Southampton, which is exactly another 200 miles away from where I was, and the lay member was somewhere in north of England, and the the medical member was sitting from the east of England, and I was sitting northeast of England. So you can see how digitalization has made this possible. So we are able to pool the team with such short notice of time without expending any money on your time or your fuel prices. You're cutting down the carbon footprint. You're able to arrange the meeting with such a within 14 day of patient wanting a meeting to be held, and we were able to do it today morning. And immediately once I finished my meeting, I was able to join your presentation, which is amazing. I think without digitalization, I would never be able to attend Mr. Brahma Reddy's meeting, or as a matter of fact, any other meeting that would have happened in India unless I traveled there. With continued integration of digital communications and medical services, this market growth is forecast to continue and reach 508 billion US dollars. And as you can see, markets are developing. Mr. Brahma Reddy's talk also addressed some of the how it's IKEA and Nike was one more thing, and Audi cars. So it's impacting each and everything. It's just not the health sector; it's the banking sector, it's the privatization, or it's looking into every aspect of our life. The most important question that we had to face was, yes, it's great that it's necessary the quick adoption of digital technologies, but can we actually continue to yield the improvements to efficiency, care quality, and cost reductions as we transition out of a global pandemic? Are we able to continue with this? There is downside of digitalization, especially in health sector, which I'm going to come, and how are we going to go ahead with this? And the most important question is, why should we go virtual? Adoption of virtual healthcare has the ability to transform the industry. It vastly increases patients' access to care while simultaneously decreasing the overall cost of healthcare provision. Initially, before COVID, I used to do 6 cases in my clinic, one clinic a day, at the most, sometimes 1.5 clinics going into a couple of hours in the afternoon. But after digitalization, after COVID 19, we were able to hold 2 clinics, morning and afternoon, because we were able to cut down the travel time. And also, there was no need for us to have a clinic room. Uh, 2 consultants were able to hold clinics at the same time. So instead of seeing 6 cases, we were able to do 12 cases. So this definitely increased the patient's access to care. They were immediately to see the doctor. Impact the entirety of the healthcare provision, all those who work in the sector, including healthcare professional managers, procurement teams, and operations colleagues. The way we started working is, if I needed to speak to a colleague of mine, discuss an important case that I wanted to refer, it didn't, it cut the cost of, it was just a straightforward thing, contacting, immediately handing over the message and everything. The patient was also present. So we were able to discuss about a difficult case and have the second opinion immediately as well. All help to drive down the cost of modern healthcare and boost patient satisfaction. It's the unique circumstances of the pandemic crisis that have resulted in its rapid and widespread implementation. To see a consultant, sometimes the patient has to wait at least 6 to 8 months' time. If it's really emergency, we ask the patients to go to accident emergency department. That has definitely come down. So we did a little survey after we did for our virtual healthcare for the first 6 months. The data showed that 60% were able to say this. Yes, they were able to contact their consultant immediately. They were able to have the access. But there's 20% of the population who were not happy that they didn't have their face-to-face contact, and they were not very good with the technology, and they were not able to express themselves well. So we're looking into that 20% as to what we can do. The other 20% of the population, they said they don't have any priority. They were happy with face-to-face, or they were happy with just a virtual consultation as well. Collaborative technology platforms extend the utility of digitalization to help strengthen communication between all healthcare professionals and management teams. As we increase the amount of we are doing it, there are lots of practical issues that we are facing. The technologies for live video calling, audio, and instant messaging are not dissimilar from those we use in our everyday lives, but it's the speed, the pace that the internet is. It also depends on whether the patient, where he's residing, whether he's got all the technology that we have, so that the quality of the call can be at the same time. Because psychiatry is very unique in that the patient touch is the most important. The way you actually collaborate, the way you actually interact with your patient is the most important thing. And that can be achieved only face to face or being in the same room. But COVID-19 posed different challenges for psychiatrists, especially. So we had to use mobile phones and mobile video conferencing. To a certain extent, if the patient is very educated, has a good technology awareness and everything, we were able to come back. But some of the long-standing chronic patients like paranoid schizophrenia or somebody who is very depressed, they're not able to use it. And at the same time, we were not able to do any home visits or anything. So it posed quite a lot of difficult challenges for us as psychiatrists. Mobile video conferencing software and apps support faster, easy, and more frequent communication between patients and their own doctors and clinical teams. What we have done is something, particular medication has been initiated and it needs to be monitored regularly. Ideally, one of my staff nurse would be visiting and just finding out if they had any side effects from the medication, and then she would be communicating. But because of COVID-19, we were not able to hold any home visits. So what we did was we asked them to download software apps, which actually give the details about the medication, any side effects, and also they were able to communicate with the nurses if there are any worries or anxieties about their meds. And then the staff nurse would come back to me if there's any advice from a consultant, we would be able to advise them. With many of these services available 24/7 and offering very short wait times, sometimes as little as 15, sorry about that, as little as 15 minutes, this option can be incredibly appealing for patients. As I said, 60% of the patients came back saying they're very happy with the virtual healthcare and they would like it to continue because they don't have to take time off from their work, and it gives them the privacy of in their sitting room. They can have their consultation, and at the same time they can actually contact the team if they need be. Internet access and connectivity issues, as well as an individual's knowledge, experience, or skill set, can also affect a patient's willingness to partake in telemedicine. We're actually running small courses as to how to improve the knowledge and how to access. This is one of the reasons as I said, the 20% were not happy. Some of them were just purely because of the anxieties of using virtual healthcare and how to use access. Some people were supported by their support network in the sense of their daughter or son could help them, but most of the people were living on their own. So this is the target population we are targeting as to how we have to help them, so that in future, if need be, if we have to continue virtual healthcare, how should we actually improve their experience of meeting their doctor, but at the same time, so that they don't feel as though they're left out. Education information. As remote HCP patient engagement increases, there's an even greater need to ensure patients feel informed and up to date. Digital communication, including websites and mobile apps, educate and inform in a more passive and therefore cost-efficient manner. We're able to run a lot of training events without incurring any costs of travel costs to stay overnight. So in that way, the services are saving a lot of money. With this digital service can help improve health outcomes, reduce missed appointments, and ease the strain on the overstretched hospitals. In the past, when we ran outpatients clinics, if a patient didn't turn up, that half an hour slot was wasted. We were unable to contact any other patient, but we always have an extra waiting list. My secretary usually sends me 6 patients, but I also have an extra 3 emergency ones in case if I can always give them a call. If I have a cancellation, I'm able to take on the other case and call them immediately and use that appointment. Digitizing the patient journey from referral to post-procedure patient feedback, admin, and patient contact time is reduced while the patient still feels informed and educated about their procedure. It's like a little graph of their journey when they refer to the services, what happens in their appointment, and then if they were to be referred to another colleague of mine, how it happened and what sort of improvement. By digitizing the data which is being recorded, it's actually a tangible information that the patient can actually see how they're progressing and how they're improving, which they're able to keep a record of it. And you can use it in monitoring and diagnosis. I think this monitoring and diagnosis is important to all of us, let alone only the healthcare sector or the psychiatry. Important consideration in terms of infection prevention and patient experience, and take more control of their health and reduce the footfall. The patient is actually monitoring. They're able to send pictures and see how things are doing, or they can score charts and they can see how much they're scoring and then share it with the healthcare professional. And in that way, actually, they monitor their own progress. And monitoring patients often with chronic conditions can be incredibly time intensive. I can give particular examples about this, especially about this point, like diabetes or hypertension, which is a chronic condition. Unless you monitor on a daily basis, you don't know how you're progressing. Checking your blood sugar levels, you don't have to go to a hospital as such. You can monitor, you can record it on your app, and then you can actually exchange or share it with your healthcare professional. Depending on that, any changes to your diabetic medicine, your blood pressure medicine can be done. So it's actually saving so much time for the patient as well as the healthcare professional, that they're able to see more number of patients in a much more efficient time manner. Can provide health measures of patients and help facilitate healthcare decisions from afar. Uh, I have liaised with doctors in India. I have liaised with doctors in US when I want to discuss a case. Sometimes it's almost like you're having a conference meeting in one room with different time zones and different consultants and colleagues without ever even leaving your own home or your office. You help physicians to diagnose and adjust treatment plans. Immediately, you can make changes. You're able to get your second opinions. You're able to share the scan pictures and everything. However, it doesn't necessarily reduce demand on the healthcare. I thought it's very important to mention this point. Even though we are saving time and it's more cost effective, it definitely increased the demand, I have to say, in our case, rather than reduce the demand. We are not traveling so much, we are not leaving our home so much, but instead of seeing 6 cases, we are trying to see 8 cases. Because of COVID-19, it has increased many people's anxieties and worries as well. That has led to increase in anxiety, depression, stress related, and many people lost their jobs, so financial difficulties. So it actually opened quite a big can of worms for us as psychiatrists, so posed like a lot of problems. In that way, we had more patients being admitted to hospitals, being referred back to our services. And how going beyond patient engagement, digitalization is not just about patient engagement and how to improve their experience. It's about our experience and how we actually educate as well. HCP to HCP, which is healthcare professional to healthcare professional, simplifying the collaboration and to design to boost efficiency and refocus resource and budget. Because we are not using so much of money in renting clinic rooms and also using money for the resource of traveling and everything, we are able to redirect those resources and use them more efficiently as to how to modernize our and see more patients and not and train our staff. Clinicians are able to communicate with colleagues or other multidisciplinary team staff members and between different departments. And it also helps to reduce clinicians' time spent traveling, reduce wait times by cutting down on the logistical challenges of numerous people meeting face to face, and streamline resources and expenditure. We have an MDT on a weekly basis where usually a consultant psychiatrist, a clinical lead, psychologist, a social worker, but at times, because of people being on annual leave or being on sick leave or for whatever reason, double commitments, they're not able to attend the team meetings. However, because of this, a person can actually attend a tribunal maybe for the first couple of hours and then still attend to the meeting or even give their input and then continue with their clinic. So it made life much more efficient, time much more efficient. I think this is just a picture of how you can see two surgeons working, but at the same time, the screen is being shared with other consultants. So actually, they can have an input as to how it needs to be done. And they're able to advise and suggest what they're seeing. So a radiologist can be included when you're in an operation theater. The same thing could be applied for us. When I'm seeing a patient and something is not clear, and if there's a physical health issue impacting on a mental health, which always most of the times I can share if there's something immediately with another physician colleague saying, this is how the patient is presenting, these are the signs and symptoms, what's his opinion? And just to rule out something, we're not going to come to a diagnosis per se as such, but the clinician might say, these are the things we would be discussing, these are the investigations we would be doing. So it's like you have another consultant sitting in the same room along with your patient. You have a three-way modality of communication and discussion, and then we ask the patient to whatever investigation needs to be done. Allows HCBCs to assemble a team of experts, including virtual colleagues, which I've addressed just now. This collaborative approach encourages peer-to-peer consultancy and increases clinical efficiency to help improve patient outcomes. Participants interact and communicate naturally. Video, audio, and relevant contextual imagery and information are combined to support well-informed decision making. I think the next point is actually what Mr. Brahma Reddy Garu was talking about, safety and risk issues. The same thing applies to us as well. Due to the sensitive nature of the healthcare information and data protection considerations, this end-to-end secure system ensures general data protection, regulation, compliance for patient privacy. This is a cyber crime. I work in NHS, which is like a public sector, and as you know, UK is not a big country, but everything is NHS. It's a free service. All the consultants, we do have private service, yeah, and we do get private patients come to NHS as well. And sometimes NHS sends their patients into private sector as well when there is an overflow. And we need to think about how to save this information when we have so much of private and personal data which is being stored about patients. Everything is in the iCloud. And if cybercrime or GDPR compliance is not is actually not ensured, what would happen? So our insurance levels have gone up. As a doctor or as a healthcare professional, our insurance has gone up. There's also an additional benefit to medical education involving there's also an additional benefit to medical education involving medical students at a point where they previously may not have been in attendance, and to train, educate, and thus improve procedural techniques. I trained in Gandhi Medical College. If I were to attend operation theater, I had to be there. And even then, very few chances of going into the theater as such. We were sitting in the lobby and actually watching our seniors work. And we used to take turns and watch the operation. Whereas now, imagine a student actually sitting somewhere in UK, and if there's a very interesting case, a very complicated case that's being operated in India, and somehow they liaised with the hospitals and they wanted this particular student to attend, you could be sitting in your room and still watching what's happening in India. That's the beauty of digitalization. And the same thing applies. It's just not surgery. Same thing applies. Like now, I attended Mr. Brahma Reddy Garu's presentation, and I learned few points. And I hope it will be applying to others who are attending my presentation. Something of interest or something of use might be heard as well. So this is the way. This is the way we can train, educate, and also impart the education that we get from another source to our other colleagues as well. And coming to admin and operation, the digitalization of administration and operational tasks in all businesses, including healthcare, is fundamental to ensure efficiency. It's just not healthcare, the way we operate. Obviously, the admin department is the one who are coordinating, saying this is the call at this point, or this is the meeting that's going to happen. So they are equally important in this. The data generated across all patients is colossal, and the task of storing, organizing, and linking patient records in formats that are understandable and simple for colleagues throughout the system to access is critical. This is where the GDPR also comes into role. As ever with digital data, concerns over data security are noted and should be addressed to alleviate patients' apprehension and ensure data protection. Use of digital technology for healthcare is growing exponentially. Cybercrime, which I said, but implication for information governance, such as patient data, confidentiality, weaponize the technology, it could be used against us, and financial calamities from threats to institutions, litigation, and liability. This is the reason the insurance has gone up. Change of mindset of healthcare professionals. They're more reserved, cautious, and potentially limiting their offer. It is worrying in case if somebody breaks into and actually have access to our, it could be quite, as I said, it could be used as a weapon in using against us. So how much of information do you send? How cautious you are? And so sometimes people are limiting as to what they can offer on digitalization. Insurance premiums increases for healthcare professionals. And as a psychiatrist, I don't think my presentation would be complete without mentioning as to how it affected mental health. Working from home, driven by technology, may be something a growing number look for in a job. It gives you that nice leisure or nice break or work-life balance when you can work from home. You're cutting down the journey time to your office. You can take regular breaks in the afternoon. The use of video conferencing platforms such as Zoom and Skype, Microsoft Teams have become the primary way of colleagues are communicating, both for work matters and also for socializing. Digitalization has improved and connected us, but also left us with a void, especially so for people who are most vulnerable group in the community, mental health patients. Most of my patients who are in the community either live alone or they live in nursing homes. So their socialization is mainly their mental health network, either the day hospital attendants or their support from community psychiatric nurse who sees them once a week, or they might be attending some courses run by the mental health support network. So by digitalization, this has been cut off. All our day hospitals were shut. None of our support workers or the community psychiatric nurses were able to go and visit them. So these patients, the most vulnerable group in the community, were completely cut off. Led to increase in anxiety, depression, social isolation, and also relapse in their mental health issues. So we saw an increase in hospital admissions and the reluctance to be discharged from hospital that posed a huge burden on hospital, and in turn it put more burden on the doctors who work in hospital support and also the nurses. Even if your patients were to be discharged, they were supposed to be seen by the community consultants again, so it increased our caseload. Rather than seeing as I said, rather than doing 3 clinics a week, I was doing 6 clinics, which really increased my workload. So, downside of digitalization: small price, but too big for some. Removed from their routine, increasingly isolated and juggling other commitments, making sure balance is maintained between our physical lives and our digital lives. I'm working from home today, but at the same time, I don't, when I'm working from home, I need to make sure that I take my regular breaks. If I was in hospital or workplace, I have my morning meeting, then I have a 15-minute break, and then I do my clinic. But there's that worry that when you're working from home, that physical barrier is taken off. You're sitting in your office, which is also your home, so you don't take those regular works. You need to be mindful that you have to take regular breaks, and you need to finish at 5 when you finish work, rather than working late into hours saying 6 and 7. That's really important. And you need to monitor your workload, and performance indicators are also important to make sure people are not under or indeed overworking. I think there's a main concern from many workers that because you're working from home, people think that you might not be working the same amount when you're at work. So people are putting in more effort. I think it's important that you make your little list of things that needed to be done that by that day, and also remembering that you're human at the end of the day. If you don't finish all the work according to the priorities, if it's not urgent, that can be done on the second day. So having that barrier work life balance, and also having that boundary set, saying this is my work time, these are my set times when I'm going to take time, just me time to relax and then continue my work, is equally important. Unless you look after your mental health, unless you look after yourself, you won't be able to help others. Having an online space that you can dip in and dip out is crucial to maintain that work life boundary. And also making sure when you take your time off, just let the team know that you're not going to be there for the next half an hour, saying that's your time and you can go. Very clear levels of communication with managers of what is expected. Sometimes managers can be too demanding, and I think it's equally important that managers are actually well educated and they need to communicate well, saying what's expected of the team and what is practical. Encouraging a culture where people take up the opportunity to go and exercise is equally important. There is no mental health without physical health, and there is no physical health without mental health. And I strongly believe that when you look after your body and mind, that's when you're at your most efficacious or most productive. So you have to make sure that you really look after your physical health, take regular breaks, exercise, make sure you eat well, you look after your mental health, and then that's when you can do your work well. And as I said, I work in Cheshire and Wirral Partnership Trust, which is in the northwest of England, very close to Chester, which is a nice Roman city. And I live in Liverpool, which is like another 30 miles away from it. I'll This trust usually encompasses around Chester and Wirral. What's happening in our trust with the COVID-19, we changed the way we are working as well. We doing what we call a single point access. When a patient is referred from the family physician to us, initially a single point access is done, looking at what are the clinical issues, when I say single point access, everything is looked at: his family issues, his personal matters, his physical health, everything is done. And once it's done, we identify what the clinical issues are. Because of the collaborative approach between primary care services, which is in the community, and tertiary care services, which is in the hospital setup, being the interface in between, we are saying, depending on the clinical issues, either the patient should be under particular faculty or can be referred to. It should be patient-centered care, not just treating the symptoms of the patient, and efficient use of resources, what is really important to the patient rather than what we think is important to the patient. That makes a real world of difference for the patient. A patient might come in maybe completely psychotic, but he says, I do not mind having some psychotic symptoms, but I don't want the side effects from the medication. I think as a doctor, it's your priority is to make sure there's a fine balance as to how much you're treating a patient, but at the same time, how happy the patient is as well. And social prescribing, including voluntary agencies. There are lots of voluntary agencies, and also they work with a specific group of patients like multiple sclerosis or Alzheimer's dementia. So sometimes when a patient is diagnosed, we usually refer them to voluntary agencies or these groups going on the community. So they have this information from them, they have the support network from them, and they also attend some of the groups and run by these groups in the community, so they feel a part of it, they don't feel alone, and also they feel communicate, they run groups, and they also do some activities together. Emotional impact of using digital technology for mental health care provision on the user. We're also addressing as to is the patient actually comfortable in using the emotional digital technology, or does the patient want to learn about it. We're running some courses as well so that patients become more familiar. The other important thing is the body image and body dysmorphic disorder issues. With increasingly being online, we are seeing lots of patients being referred to aesthetics, looking at how their face looks on online, and what we call as tech neck and zoom faces. I was speaking to some of my colleagues in aesthetic industry, and they have noticed that definitely people are getting more procedures done on their faces and their necks because they don't like the way they look and everything. So it's important that we don't go overboard and start treating everybody. Body dysmorphic disorder is when somebody looks at them in a wrong way, when there is no problem as such. It's actually a mental health disorder diagnosis. And also dangers of substituting face-to-face with remote interactions. It's important to find out that the patient is okay with the virtual consultation. And it's also important that from time to time, if possible, provided there are no risk issues, go back to face-to-face consultations from time to time. We started face-to-face consultations back again. Rather than doing 6, we're doing only 3, so that the room is actually disinfected between the face-to-face consultations. Some patients definitely want only remote consultations, which is fine. If they're able to cope, if they're mentally doing well and they've got the support network, we always offer them virtual healthcare. But some patients who are not very familiar with digitalization, who's got chronic mental health and physical health issues, and definitely need that face-to-face consultation, we are doing
Dr.
it.
Sunita,
I'm sorry, it's
conclude
just
it's
please
okay.
summary.
Yes,
Irrespective of the clientele, the key benefit of virtual healthcare is the ability to drive down the overall cost of modern healthcare while not taking away from the patient outcome and experience, and taking into account the combination of current pressures on healthcare systems, including aging populations, decreased funding and staffing levels, as well as ever tightening targets for wait times. The clear advantage of going digital market makes it worth pursuing. Thank you very much. I'm very sorry for going overboard over time.
Thank you, Sunita. It's really wonderful talk actually you have given. You need to applaud from all of them.
Thank you. Any questions? I think it's quite self-explanatory, but any questions, please ask me and I will answer.
Ramareddy garu, you want something? Ramareddy garu,
Sir.
want to ask something?
Yeah, I can ask, but already the same. Madam, just one question. How artificial intelligence can be linked to this healthcare in industry?
Mainly robotics, but not in psychiatry as such. We are not using at this point of time at all, because as I said, psychiatry, I think, is placed at a different level completely. Even now, many patients want that face-to-face contact. They want that human contact. So psychiatry, I think we are a bit behind with artificial intelligence, I have to say. But my surgical colleagues are definitely looking into it. They're definitely progressing. They think there's a bit, especially orthopedics, robotics. Wish I could say that we are also in that category, but my patients definitely want that face-to-face consultation still.
Thank you.
So, Rameswara,
Separate, sir.
sir,
Sorry, I'm traveling. My phone line. I'm disconnected.
can I continue it?
Now you please introduce that Professor Dr. KTV Reddy, sir, Director Technical, our immediate past President IETE headquarters, sir.
Thank you, sir. I am proud to introduce Dr. KTV Reddy. He is my colleague in the council, 2 times actually. Professor Dr. KTV Reddy received BTech degree in Electronics and Communication Engineering from SV University and MTech PhD Communications from IIT Mumbai. At the time, Gopi. He is having over 3 decades of teaching, research, and administrative experience. Based on his administrative skills, commitment, hard work, and discipline, he was invited to be principal of Cherna Engineering College, Nerul, for 2 years, and also Padma Bhushan Vasantdana Patil Pratishthan College of Engineering, Siam, Mumbai, for 3 years. Under his supervision, 4 students completed PhDs and 5 students are in progress. More than dozen students completed MBA MTech thesis and over 100 UG projects. He published over 100 papers in the national and international journals and conferences. Delivered over 200 invited talks and organized over 150 conferences and workshops. Dr. Reddy is a fellow member of IIT, senior member of IEEE, and life member of ISTE, ACM, and CSI. He has organized several international and national conferences and workshops. He is a key member to inaugurate over 30 IETS ISS in and around Mumbai colleges. Served IETE Mumbai Center in various capabilities like Treasurer, Vice Chairman, Press Secretary, Chairman. During his term as Chairman IETE Mumbai, he has acquired a beautiful premises for Mumbai Center in 2009. He was a key member in organizing and taking grand success of IETE ATC in 2009 and 2012 also held in Mumbai. He also served IEEE APED Mumbai chapter as Vice Chairman for the year 2004 and 2005. He is a well-known academician and a strong administrator. Because of his hard work and strong commitment, he has received several awards at national and international level. Some of them are 4th B.R. Batra Memorial National Award for the year 2006, Lifetime Education Achievement Award 2007 by Health and Education Development Association, New Delhi in 2008. Outstanding Teacher Award by International Rotary Club in 2009 and 2011. Best Educationalist Award 2011, International Institute of Education Management, New Delhi. Gold Star Asia International Award 2012 by Economic Growth Society of India and Asia Pacific International Award 2012. 2007. Selected 2000 Outstanding Scientists. He is one of the 2000 outstanding scientists in the world for the year 2008. He has been invited to Asia Pacific Communication Conference 2008 held at Tokyo, Japan. He was also invited to attend ATC 2012 organized by IEEE in Vietnam in October 2012.
ఏంది పడరాడు పాటలు
He
పాడుతున్నాడు
served various companies in Mumbai University and expert visiting member of AICTE and UGC. As a governing council member for the term 2011-2014 and 2015-2018, he has served as a governing council member of IIT. He has served as president for 2 tenures in the year 2017 and 2019. During that time, I was in the governing council of IIT. He actually is a good administrator and he has dealt any meeting very decisively. And Dr. K.T. Reddy is the youngest president in the history of IIT since 1953. I invite Dr. Reddy to give his presentation. Sir, please, sir.
Thank you very much, sir, for your nice introduction. You can able to hear me?
I have limited my.
No, it is too
many
much.
things I have omitted.
No, it is too much you told. So that is not required. Yeah. So then what I felt is instead of giving specific presentation, whatever the digitalization we done for academic as well as maybe partially for medical, both I will going to talk without slides. Okay. So because once the word digitalization is come, I think we are using earlier, okay, and when we started, when COVID-19 started in the month of March, that time we know the teachers in the, because I am heading almost 18 institutions, and another senior colleges, arts and science, another 45 colleges. Total, we have 104 institutions, and everybody is on panic. Okay, so what to be done? Then we had a small intranet, where internet within the local level, where we have through local net, we used to able to deliver talks and especially the assessments and assignments and all. Once it has become the lockdown, the students cannot come inside. Okay, so then we felt what type of digitalization to be required, what are the platform to be used. Then we started what are the platforms which are available. When we asked the teachers to start preparing and try to reach to the students, there are a lot of complications and complaints. They says that, okay, sir, we cannot reach to our students, and students don't have a mobile, because we have this organization have 42,000 students on roll. So maybe from junior KG to the senior level and including PhD level, even the teachers also reluctant to start online lectures, because the one is the preparation, second is to reach out. Then slowly we told them, we need to start without there's no second option for us. Then they started something called as the platform which is already available is Zoom, because Zoom, if it is free, it will be gets over by 40 minutes, and people will be claim that 1 hour. Okay, so that is the status which is coming, and they cannot talk just orally. They need to give presentation. For preparation for the presentation, it takes more time than taking notebook or textbook in the classroom and start doing it. Then what is the scenario 1 year back and what is the scenario today is 100% transformation from boardroom teaching to digitalization by in the form of online and many more, including not only the teaching but even practical conduction, practical assessment, test assessment, assignment assessment. Everything is going on digital mode only. Okay, especially the platforms which we made our people to use it, like the other speakers also talked about, is the Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Google Google Meet, StreamYard, which can be specific and which can be recorded and all. So these are the platforms which are used by our people. Now, if you talk about in particular Pune University, our institution, our organization is the one which is completed 100% syllabus by mode of not only just completion of syllabus, but even revisions. Because the when we started examination pattern exam, even university had certain problems, but we can able to, our team, the IT team is so good enough to use our internet facilities so as to give the advantage for the students who are not having the internet connectivity and all, because there are so hard and fast things which are happen and which is not imagined by neither students nor parents nor the teachers nor administrator like us. So finally it is made very much successful. Okay. And if you talk because of COVID, because we have 2-3 hospitals, okay, and we have maybe 500 beds at Nagar and 500 beds at Loni, but the number is increasing like anything. They are not getting the beds. Then we took our team to start preparing the Pravara COVID Care app. So in that app, we come to know the number of COVID centers with the taluka level or district level completely. Even later on, it is linked with the complete state. Maharashtra, everybody is talking about epicenters, Maharashtra, Mumbai, Nasik, Pune and all. So we started developing this application where we know how many patients are admitted, how many shifted from one place to other place, then how many people are discharged per day, what are the they required, whether it's oxygen required or maybe ventilators required and all. This app may be made means user friendly in both the languages, English as well as in Marathi. Okay, so this helped us like anything to find out exact number of the beds available. Maybe it is general, or maybe it is in the oxygen separately, maybe ventilators. Okay, it worked very well. So I thanks to like Narendra Modi used to say last 10 years, digital India and all, and people used to think what he is talking about, whether it is documentation, whether it is administration, whether it is academic and all. Now COVID made more digitalization to use in the academic. Okay, so thanks to maybe one side we need to thank COVID situation, other side we need to be unhappy because many of our friends we lost because of maybe oxygen cylinders are not available, concentrators not available and all like that. Okay, so there are many things where we can talk about what we have done it, how we are come out with solution, because if there is a problem, there is a solution. And COVID problem made us 99% to use digital mode. But today also I am in the office itself. Compared to when we are, even academic scenario entirely changed. That is, now maybe the student may be getting bored. Maybe Dr. Sunita was sending. There are many people who are psychologically affecting sitting at home also. Okay, so maybe that blended mode is going to happen. 20% maybe the physical lectures, remaining to be on online. So once this comes, the number of teachers, the number of administrators, many things going to be reduced. Okay, so we can sit and we can play at different roles at different locations. Okay, so I think this is a real-time experience where things are went to digital and really using it. Okay, so I thought at least this much I will share with all my dear and near friends, those who are attending this particular the talks invited by IEI. Special thanks to Subredi Garu to be part of this particular occasion. Okay, so thank you very much. After maybe after 2-3 years, we are seeing each other. Much more than that. So I thought that is what I want to convey. Not because I don't want to give technical lecture where how digital to be converted and how it will transfer, how artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and how it can be used in 5D technology, how mobiles can be used, and you now no need of desktop laptops. Only mobile is sufficient to take care about entire world in hand. Okay, so that is the way how the technology is coming up, and we, as a IIT, part of IIT, as we mentioned, that we have come up with certain solutions which are proposed to the government of India, and with that, I think hoping that we will get that project and which will be useful for the society as a large. So I'm not talked what do you call technology and technical things as of now, because it is a general things where everybody knows that okay how it is going to be. So mobile is the one which is made everyone more digitalization. Okay, so thank you, sir.
Thank you, KTV Reddy Garu.
Yes.
Of course, though it is brief, but it's good presentation actually, what is required you have presented. Thank you very much.
Right, sir.
Sir,
Your presentation is short and sweet presentation, sir. Very nice presentation you have given,
great
sir. Really.
presentation.
All three speakers are very excellent, sir. Including Brahma Reddy sir also given the detailed presentation. Almost 40 minutes he has given, sir. Brahma Reddy sir. A madam presentation is no doubt. Last time also on 17th telecommunication day also she delivered this talk, sir. Very excellent. Everybody are appreciating the talk given by her. And same thing now today also three speakers are very good, sir. No words to say.
One more speaker
Now
is there,
I am
sir.
request. Oh, tell Kamal garu unnaru.
Kamal garu unnaru.
Yes, I know very well. Now our last speaker, that Professor Dr. K.S. Kamal FI, Chairman ETDB IEI. And now I am requesting our engineer Subbireddy FI, please introduce our chairman, Professor Dr. T.S. Kamal.
I feel very happy to introduce.
Very brief.
Yes, I do agree. Anyhow, KTV Reddy Garu has given very brief. There is no problem.
Yes, sweet. Sir's speech also very sweet. Short and
It's
sweet.
compensated timing.
Professor
Brahma Reddy has
Dr. T.S. Kamal Ji is FIE, FIETE, Life Senior, MIEEE, BSc, Life Member, Indian Science Congress Association, BE Electronics Communication, ME Communication System from University of Roorkee, now IIT. He is a gold medalist and PhD from Punjab University. Guided 25 scholars for PhD degrees and 5 more are pursuing the research work for PhD under his guidance. More than 40 students were guided for master degree. Started career as assistant professor and retired as professor from Punjab University Engineering College, Chandigarh, and later worked as professor and officer on special duty in Sant Longowal Institute of Engineering and Technical Longowal, deemed to be university now actually. Member of various boards, committees of universities and expert to examine the PhD thesis. Now published more than 230 research papers and in national and international journals. Referred journals and presented research papers in international and national conferences. Organized 2 international and many national events and engineering successfully in Punjab and Chandigarh State Center, Chandigarh. Research work has been widely cited by many research scholars and concepts in the paper Application of DGS in Microstrip Patch Antenna is a testimony of invention by this group. Presided over engineering section of Indian Science Congress at Ahmedabad session in year 2005 and delivered Platinum Jubilee Lecture at Visakhapatnam session of ISCA. Helped in setting up 3 new engineering colleges. Joined IEA in the year 1972 as a member and was upgraded to fellow grade later. Elected to State Central Committee in the year 1980 and was elected Honorary Secretary in 1989 and State Center Chairman in the year 1999. He was inducted into IEA Council as a member in the year 1991 and continuing till date. Held various positions such as Vice President and Chairman and member of important statutory committees. He was awarded Sir Thomas Watt Gold Medal Prize for Best Paper published in ETN. Come on, sir. Can you please take up? Thank you, sir.
Audible?
Yes, sir. Yes,
audible,
sir.
audible.
Sir. సుబ్బరెడ్డి సార్ మీరు అన్మ్యూట్ చేసుకోండి, డిస్టర్బెన్స్ ఉంది దాంట్లో.
ఓకే ఓకే.
2 weeks ago, I sent out a letter to all the state center chairman and local center chairman, requesting them to have some webinars and the ETD region. So I am happy that Telangana State Center is the number 1 to start this venture. And they have, the state center has selected a galaxy of the experts on the topic. I'm very happy our 3 speakers, Mr. Brahma Reddy, Nitha Reddy, and Mr. KTB Reddy. They have given the wonderful presentation and dealt the subject in detail. I was feeling like as if I am sitting in a class and the very good teachers are teaching the topic. Brahma Reddy taught me the business and banking. Dr. Snitha Reddy, she talked about the all mental health because it took me back because my wife was suffering from the same disease and she suffered for 30-40 years since she started on the 1st January 1981. So she took me back that my face and how she probably at that time we could have contacted with the Dr. Snitha Reddy, probably could have been better. And Dr. KTB Reddy gave a beautiful presentation. I'm very happy that Telangana State Center has taken the lead. I will take not much time. Presentation is not starting. You are seeing the presentation? Is it being shared? Yes, sir. No, I have started. Thank you. The information society has emerged as one of the main lines of defense against the COVID-19. In 2021, I2U will use World Television information to unite the world in pursuit of the digital transformation in every field of business and all aspects. I'm skipping some slides, coming straightway to our common goals and the agenda is 2030. Goal number 1 is growth. Number 2, inclusiveness, sustainability, innovation, and partnership. Then way to achieve these are showing that gain new experience, then develop digital DNA, adopt new technologies, base decisions, and co-create the vision. Now, in just a few months time, the COVID-19 crisis has brought about years of the change in the companies in all sectors. According to a new global survey, executives, their companies have accelerated the digitization of their customer and supply chain interaction and of their internal operations. And nearly all respondents say that companies have put at least temporary solutions to meet many of the new demands on them. And much more quickly than thought. This means that advancing of the goals and targets of the IT Connect 2030 agenda leave no one behind. World Telecommunication Information Society takes place on this 17th May and focus on a timely theme, accelerating digital transformation and the challenging in times. Throughout the 2021, all of us are aiming to inspire, guide, and mobilize the transformation. Now, our common goals target 1. All countries adopt digitalization agenda strategy. All countries should have national digitalization agenda. So, agenda, policy, strategy, legislation. If not easy, then legislation should be passed or policy statement identifying the listing of the national goals and objectives in relation to digitalization transformation and how to go about achieving it. They can establish clear principles and priorities, help define mechanics for extending connectivity while building protection and online safeguard for the vulnerable members of society. Target 2, population should be interacting with government service online. The government aiming for digital transformation need to start by delivering citizen-centric service for all, while e-government initiatives vary from country to country. Digitization technology consistently helps to modernize government and public services and vastly improve the citizen experience. In a sense, countries engaging in digital transformation and aim to improve how to operate, how to deliver, how to engage the stockholders better. Is audible? Is it audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay. Online voter registration, birth registration, passport application are often carried out through only access, speeding and up application process and it was the faster and more essential services. Now, see, I can quote here. Last year, I applied for my uh, passport. I finished the paper, went there and got registered, everything done. By the time I came back to my place, I got a message that your application has been processed and the passport is being uh, preparation. Next day morning, I got a message that the passport is ready and we are transmitting, sending to the 4 years service such and such. Now see the difference. Earlier, when I applied, it took 7 8 days. Then somebody will come to verify. Then after report will go. Everything now in the third morning, I get a message that passport has been dispatched, and the verification was done afterwards. So that is the beauty of this. Then the visa was for Canadian. Third day, I was invited to submit the passport to get the visa. That's all. So that is the beauty of it. Now, improve cyber security and preparedness. In this digital age, trust is everything. Until unless we have trust and everything. Cyber security is crucial to secure universal, trustworthy, and equitable access to the connectivity. Yet, cyber threats, cyber attacks gave rise to ever-growing security challenges for both the public and the private sector. In all the countries, not all countries should have a national cybersecurity preparedness action plan, legislation, or policy statement in place, identifying and listing their national goals and objectives in relation to the cybersecurity and cyber attacks, and how to go about protecting national infrastructure and system in every cyber attack. Target 4 is all countries should have a national emergency telecommunication plan as a part of their national and local disaster risk reduction strategy. All countries should have a national action plan, framework, legislation, or policy for the emergency telecommunication preparedness. Now, at this point, I'll say that in all the targets, we expect or expect that if everything is not coming rightly, then the legislation should come to the right. Government should pass laws, rules, whatever they feel like, to get this targets and objectives, regulations, and to natural disaster and emergency, how to get involved, protecting population, national infrastructure, etc. Population growth and rapid urbanization and climate change are making a growing number of communities and people around the world more vulnerable to extreme weather events and natural disasters and pose risk of death, destruction, displacement, injury, and damage to the people, communities, or livelihoods, as well as critical telecommunications infrastructures. Timely and effective information flow important for early warning and alerting, effective coordination and escalation of response activity within all stakeholders working in the disaster management, but first responders to senior officials. Now, target 5 should be all countries should have policies, strategies, fostering telecommunication, ICT-centric innovation. All countries should have policies and strategy for centric innovation. Today, innovation is being transformed by ICT, big data, and artificial intelligence. Innovation and learning can be either formal or informal. Now, at this point, I have a reservation here because we have gone on online education. All right, people means they could purchase the good cell phones. But the people, the population, poor people, where there is a problem of the food, if morning they have eaten, then problem of the evening is there. Now, in that case, how to manage the smartphone so that they can do that? That's the big problem I have seen in the villages and moving around. That's the reservation there, what should be done there. Now, these innovations positively impact the living of billions of people. You have seen people, all the people are moving from Bombay, big cities, on food runs, around the world for the creation of the digital landscape for sustainable growth and development. Because we are talking, we are talking everything concerning the challenging time of today. They help ensure more people of the world and connected and able to benefit the widening range of digital services offered via wireless communication. Target 6 is increased effective partnership with the stakeholders, cooperation with other organizations and entities in the telecommunication ICT environment. Modern society innovation can come from any angle, including new and diverse stakeholders and different points of the way to ensure that social change is harnessed for good and that the most vulnerable members of the society can be protected. The need of the partnership among different stakeholders was recognized in both the Millennium Development Goals and Sustainable Development Goals of the IDB. Is committed to ensure that partnership and cooperation are more effective as we address the challenges facing us on it. Now, why here? Billions of people still lack the benefits of internet access. People who are connected can work from home, obtain information, learning tools, and enhance their business. They can be more productive at work, connect with the loved ones remotely, and make themselves better protected in the emergency. Then countries invest to bring people online every month. About 4 billion people, or just over half the world population, are online by 2019. But the other 3.7 billion people lack this internet access and could not take advantage of the digital revolution. Hundreds of the millions more than struggled with slow, costly, and unreliable access even in the normal times. This is something how the people are approaching and doing. Now, what next? We must all work together to bring everyone, everywhere online. Member states can continue delivering telecommunication ICT by developing digital policy and strategies to adopt and always with special focus on the target that particularly contribute to the digital transformation in the framework of Connect 2030 agenda by providing data and statistics at appropriate as well as initiative to be included in the Connect 2030 agenda. Now, sector members, associates, and academia can continue to facilitate the cooperation and partnership in areas such as innovation, infrastructure, investment, and capacity development, so digital transformation for all can achieve Connect 2030 agenda. Share their technology-driven strategies with the world, considering the possible opportunity and the challenges of the digital transformation, or challenges of the digital transformation, and how these challenging times, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, can be used as opportunity to connect all. So the media can do tell stories about how digital transformation is benefiting the citizens, consumers, society. Then media can tell hold governments accountable, highlighting the strengths and weakness of the current policy, strategies and plans, identifying policy gaps, and describing new challenges addressed amid the rapid evolution of the technologies. Tell exciting stories through talk shows, interviews, radio debates, and social media campaigns about how governments, companies, or people are making a difference. Now, all stakeholders can identify tangible problems within your family, school, your university, your workplace, your community, and take action. Raise awareness of our key information technology 2021 theme, accelerating digital transformation in challenging times. Reflect how IT responds to adopt to new challenges through ICT. Because ICT is the responsibility of IT. Enhance cooperation with government, business, communities, United Nations bodies, civil society, other stakeholders to accelerate digital transformation. Reinforce the importance of developing digital strategies and their technology-driven initiatives. Share your stories on social media to inspire others. Consider both the opportunities and the challenges of digital transformation while seeking timely, effective answers to the broader global change. Thank you very much. Once again, I am thankful to the Telangana State Center for organizing the webinar in the ETV region. And this is the first of the series. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving the good presentation, sir. Thank you. Now I am requesting our Honorary Secretary, or anybody want to talk anything in conclusion? Subhireddy sir, you want to say anything? Yes, sir, that's why. That's why. Already time is 7:30. Okay. Now, what of thanks by our
Dr. Girish Mundada, can you talk? Can you want to talk something?
Yeah, you ask him, sir. Pune, he is from Pune. Professor.
Dr. Girish
Munda, sir, Dr. Girish Munda, sir. Girish, sir. Please unmute yourself, sir. Clear. Okay. Anjay, sir, please propose the vote of thanks.
Okay, sir.
respected Professor Dr. T.S.
సార్ ఒక్క నిమిషం
Kamal,
అంజయ్ సార్ ఒక్క నిమిషం ఆగండి.
Mohammed Shakir.
Sir, instead of taking 3-4 speakers, we should have at least only 2 so that they get a sufficient time.
ఎస్ సార్, ఎస్ సార్,
45 minutes of if 1 hour, that's fine.
ఎస్.
Because they must have prepared certainly. I think Dr. Smriti Reddy has prepared her lecture, but she could not complete it. So please, my question is that we should have only 2 lectures.
ఎస్ సార్.
Girish Mundada, you please unmute, sir.
Maybe because having
Now he came, sir. Oh, Munda sir, please.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Very
yeah,
good.
sir.
You are
Am I
looking
audible?
smart. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes.
You are looking smart.
Brahma Reddy, sir.
प्रोफेसर साहब कुछ बोलो ना, few words,
What do I have to speak? Introduction.
anything you want to
No,
speak.
no, no.
You are welcome.
Good evening
Yeah,
to all.
Our chairman has given you open order, no, for speaking.
Yeah. I missed in between audio, so I was not clear what is to be.
You can say few words about digital this thing or anything. You are a professor, any topic.
Yes, sir. We keep on delivering a lecture, and problem is once we start, we don't stop for an hour.
No, don't do, sir. We will call you one day separately.
3 minutes.
And I was listening to the presentation which you made, which Sunita Reddy madam made, KTV Reddy sir, and Kamal sir, and it was all fantastic and very much learning. And really, we never felt that program is going long, and we never felt that we are tied to chair and listening to this for a very long time. So it was very wonderful presentation, very much informative, and very well coordinated by Reddy sir and Dr. G. Rameshwar Rao, always a pleasant personality. So always it was an opportunity for me to be with you all. So thank you very much. Wonderfully conducted program, sir.
Sir, 2.5 hours, Murali Krishna sir from America is on the line, sir. Our Professor Murali Krishna sir.
Yeah, Yankee.
Almost, sir, Murali Krishna sir.
Oh, thank you. It's a very interesting presentation on digitalization. Please go ahead. Go ahead. It's a wonderful presentation.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Girish,
हाँ sir, हाँ Kamal sir ji.
now that's still your turn.
Yes sir, sure. It will be pleasure.
That's still your turn.
Yes sir.
Anjay sir, now
no,
we
sir.
Thank you.
Start your.
Professor Dr. T.S. Kamal, FIE Chairman, ETDB, IEI, Professor KTV Reddy, FIE Director, Technical Press Lines, and immediate past President, IETE Headquarters, New Delhi, Dr. K. Sunita Reddy, Consultant, Forensic Psychiatrist, Engineer V. Brahma Reddy, Council Member, IEI, our Chairman, Dr. G. Rameshwar Rao, FIE, IITSC, Engineer Subbireddy, FIE, Committee Member, IITSC, and Convener of the event, distinguished guests, and Dr. Girish Munda, fellow fraternities, representatives of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to all. It gives me immense pleasure to perform the present duty of proposing vote of thanks. I thank Speaker and Professor Dr. T.S. Kamal, Professor Dr. KTV Reddy, Dr. K. Sunita Reddy, Engineer Brahma Reddy, and Dr. Girish Munda for sharing their rich presentations. I also thank to the dignitaries, committee members, corporate members, and others who made it convenient to attend this event. I also convey thanks to the representatives of media for unstinted support to cover the proceedings of the event. Thanks, one and all.
Thank you, Anjay sir. Now
Thank
we are
you.
closing this meeting by national anthem.
Okay, Girish sir. We'll meet.
Namaste, Superiority.